Here, these are dead, you're dead. Lots in common, much to discuss. The scenes in the mausoleum are the most important scenes for Elena of the whole entire show, because that is where I knew it was important for me to really underline who she is emotionally at her core. Is that why you're trying to drive me mad like Mummy? Well, it won't work. Even though he's dead, he's the one person who could just reduce her to a pathetic, crumbling little puddle. And every time she goes and talks to him, she tries a little bit harder to be brave. She's still that little girl trying to please her daddy.
We never meet Joseph. What we know of what he thinks and feels is what Elena fills in for us, right? She seems to be having a conversation with him, but really it's a conversation with herself.
These hogs may call you Chancellor, but I know who you really are.
She suspects that her father would have looked at Zubak and looked at the direction of this country and looked at an idea like land reform, which is the big new idea, right? And realized that it all sounds a bit dull. It doesn't really seem to have that pioneer spirit of conquest and that gripping sense of purpose that Joseph himself had. Maybe this is true, maybe it's not, but it's what Elena feels in the moment.
For once in your hollow little life, seize the mantle of history.
Yes, I'll try. I'll try, promise. I promise, Daddy.
Zubak thought they were sharing the same dream, that they were on the same track.
Priority one is to protect the security and autonomy of our people. And a program of reunification with our Fabian brothers is the only way to ensure our sovereignty.
We thought certain things were moving in a certain direction, in a positive, constructive direction, and all of a sudden it crumbles and it goes all the way south.
All we are doing is realizing our dream of a new Europe.
I like the idea that at every juncture of a typical relationship arc, that the country and the wider world is reacting to what is happening in that relationship.
What is that? Have you always done that?
Their fight, which eventually grows to encompass all the country and China and their vision for the future, it begins with a very simple discussion of, oh, you do this thing now that you didn't used to do. And that felt like the most lifelike human way into that discussion, something very big exploding from something very small.
You may build it as tall as you like, but you build it from our Earth.
That's something your mummy would sing in the beet fields.
Elena and Zubak are going at each other, wanting the other one to lose control first.
Big baby ox, man.
Your father always knew that you are weak.
It is a very emotionally charged scene, and there's so much going on. And there's always this sort of subtle sexual undertone that's going on between Elena and Zubak, and she knows that when the chips are down, she can just use her physical prowess to manipulate. I bet you dream about fucking me, don't you? But I don't dream about fucking you.
The psychosexual nature of it felt that it was pushing into an area which made it very compelling for an audience to watch.
Kate Matthias, I think, tried to find a almost taunting, seductive physicality in which, I guess, the sort of latent physical attraction between the two characters is kind of made for the first time more explicit. But rather than that explicit physicality coming in a romantic moment, it is coming in a moment of rupture between these two characters.
You do not have a graceful mind.
Keeps buttering off.
Matthias is very strong, and because he's very truthful and very explosive in what he's doing, we had to just find a way to keep that safe for her.
The fucking ox!
No, you're a butcher!
It's about trusting them and them trusting each other, so it's a safe enough space for them to be able to feel they can completely let go.
We work in quite similar ways, Matthias and I, quite sort of spontaneous and instinctive. And with these characters, we've had to really be like that. We've had to let it evolve and unravel, because at times it should feel like these are two characters who are unraveling. And it takes quite a lot of trust in the other actor to know that you can just say, okay, let's just not have any plan and just see what happens.
The roles are so dark and twisted and weird and kinky, so let's have fun with it, because otherwise we're gonna drown in the misery of our characters. So let's enjoy the drowning.
Hail the conquering hero. In the hierarchy of the regime, Agnes holds quite a lot of power, but she lacks agency in every way, especially where protecting her son's concerned. You could describe it like a car crash of co-parenting.
The best thing for Oscar would be for him to stay here with me.
It's a nightmare, and Elena does it with such ease. It's insidious.
Elena is terrifying because of how deluded she is and her ability to just say, no, I don't think so. And when she says that, you know that something bad might happen. Someone might get locked up. They might just disappear quietly, suddenly, for no reason.